Warning! Warning! I am an idiot. I'm just a guy in a pole barn. Get it? Pole barn garage. Anything I say to do, you do at your own risk. I'm just some dude. Let that be your disclaimer. Let's get on with the show.
This time on Pole Barn Garage. Dum dum.
We're gonna lose the shop! Oh no! I'm so angry I could just throw a wrench! Ah! What do you think you're doing? We have a dramatic TV show deadline to meet, and you're messing with fuzzy dice? If we don't get to World of Wheels, we're gonna lose the shop! Don't you understand?
Will I be able to make it to Autorama, World of Wheels, Kansas City, 2022?
Welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Pole Barn Garage. Full of drama and excitement. Or something. Anyway, we have a deadline to make. The new goal is to try to make it to the World of Wheels car show in Kansas City in about a month. We need to bust on it if we're going to try to make it there. It will have to be trailered, unfortunately, which I hate. We need it to at least move under its own power, and be not completely embarrassing. Well, you know what I mean. Somebody probably ought to make a list, but every time I've done it, I end up throwing it away. I got this here Valance from a dude out on the East Coast. I just put up an ad asking for the worst Valance I could find, which confused a lot of people, I'm not gonna lie, but had some fella trying to sell me some $400 new old stock Valance. I'm like, man, yeah. No, when I say the worst, I mean the worst. And so this guy claimed to have had the worst. I'll be the judge of that, I reckon. Oh, man. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Looks like UPS stepped on it a few times. That cardboard was probably worth more than this. It's awfully flat. Now, I will say that the bad for this is probably the best piece of the whole car, actually. I'm tired of laying on my back down here. I don't really know how this goes on. Yeah, I think we need to pop it out. Well, here's what OPG shows for a Valance. It's pretty clear that it needs to be pushed back out. Oh, that's trim. Now that looks a little bit better. Well, that seems to have done the trick. So I think our next step's going to be bolt it to a fender. This fender is slightly better, so we'll pick that one. Then we'll just kind of work our way over, utilizing many self-tapping screws, I'm sure. Well, as you can see, it fits perfectly. Probably like a fist-sized gap there. Well, at a pinch, if you don't have the little sheet metal clips that hold these on, I just use a bolt and nut. Usually works just fine. God, I'm getting tired of this. We're just going to make the assumption that this fender isn't necessarily correct. Anything's a hammer if you try hard enough. Oh yeah, we're, a ways, off the mark. It happens. There we go. That helps some. Nothing here is even close to right, but, well, nothing else is on the whole car, so, that's the freedom you're granted with something like this. Now, you're probably wondering what I'm going to do about patinaing it. I'm just going to dust some red on it, and then we'll hit it with some sandpaper and bring some of that rust out and stuff. This doesn't matter that much. No one will ever really see it. Too lazy to mask? Piece of cardboard does trick pretty good. I got this sweet front Valance from my buddy Roy, free of charge, and just squirted some black on it, left it all crappy looking, of course. And that will be a nice final touch until I rip it off on a parking curb. That's kind of what you do. I got this box of crap from my dad. Marker lights are in here. The buckets, the bezel, the other bezel. I think these are what you use to mount it. Another light. Dig these sweet Cal Custom window cranks. You don't see those every day. So yeah, that ought to take care of us. Those are out of his 69 GTO. They're just terrible enough for this. Then we got our one marker light in. The studs are busted off. I'm just gonna put, you know, one nut on it and that'll definitely hold it in. I can't get to the back of it. Well, we got marker lights and they're in very poorly. But of course I would expect no better out of me. Well, you might remember this. And I think it's only fitting that we return it to its original place on the car. How does this go on is a valid question. Let's try to straighten it out first, give it a little bit more of its original glory. Yep. 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 Perfect. Properly self-tapping attached. God help me if I can even find the holes again for this. There's so many to pick from. And that is awesome. She's back. Don't mess with Texas. Well, last step here is we definitely need this chin spoiler. Yeah, the license plate kind of screws with it, I think, but necessary evil. Nothing is the right shape on this car. I don't understand it. What I'm going to do is just shoot a couple of self-tappers into it. Shocker. Now that is freaking tough. Love that. Probably tear it off first parking curb I hit, but for now, I love that. Time that you're gonna be dyeing anything on your interior, over the years, people have used, you know, countless amounts and applications of Armor All and greasy things like that. And you don't want to be dealing with that. It's just going to fisheye like crazy. Sometimes it's impossible to get it out. You can help some by just getting yourself a wax and grease remover. This is just generic stuff. It's pretty much like a very diluted lacquer thinner. It will improve your results by quite a bit just by taking this one little step. And a gallon of this stuff goes a long, long ways. So I just give them a wipe down, and then you just kind of let it sit on there for just a bit, and then come back with a dry cloth and wipe it off. Now I thought I had front door panels, but I don't know where they're at right now. I'll try to come up with those, because I should have the matching fronts for these, which are power window door panels. Never gonna put those in anything, because why would I ever make my life easier? Then just come back with your dry cloth and wipe them down, and that's just to get rid of any extra residue. And today I'm just gonna be using regular old Duplicolor vinyl fabric dye you can get at any parts store. If you're doing something you really care about, use like an SEM or Color Bond product. It's way superior, but for what we're doing, this is just fine and it's cheap. 1 or 2 coats usually does the trick. If you layer this stuff on too thick, you end up running the risk of filling the grain of the vinyl. And then it just looks strange. You don't want to do that. Also, pro tip, always buy flat black. If you're going to be doing just doing what everybody does and converting your entire interior to black, then use a flat black. You don't want it looking shiny that just looks wrong. This will look more correct, and if you want to shine, then you put some Armor All on it. All I've got for back seat is just this bottom half here. I really need an upper half of the seat before the show, otherwise we're definitely going to lose the shop. And we're just going to make sure, you know, that we're spraying this way. Go. Instant new interior. This actually turned out pretty nice. I did find my grease gun. If you don't get that, go back and watch the last video. Well, let's go ahead and just toss the 8-track in here. I don't think I'm going to wire it up yet. We got too many other things to focus on right now. We can at least put it in here for looks. Not that we'll really ever be able to listen to it anyway. So this 8-track's kind of neat. It's got this separate, like, I don't know, theft-proof thing. So what I'm going to do is use my right-angle drill bit and then just trash this lower dash piece, you know. Now we can be rocking into the night. Oh yeah. We're ready for the country. Now, when it comes to taking off your window cranks in your GM car, get yourself a good one of these, okay? This is the only way to go. Holy crap. That's usually not how that works. Now, I know. I'm destroying the originality of the car. These are 1972 door panels. For that, I apologize. Look at this well-appointed interior. You know, that much of it. But if you look right here, man, she's restored. Looky what I got here. A new drive shaft. Roadkill Customs helped me pay for it, so let's just put that on here. That way when I leave this thing laying on the highway somewhere, you know, maybe someone will look that up and go visit Jeff's website. I had to get her for the Turbo 400. So it came with a 32 spline output shaft. We'll have to put the new U-joints in both ends of this before we can put it in. Thank God it's new and it won't be any problem to do it. Plus we get 2 more of whatever kind of U-joint that is, like a 1310 or something like that. Throw them in stock. As much as I really want to go ahead and throw this in here and go take the car down the block, I don't want to take a chance on screwing this up. It's $350. And you know, that's too much to risk for me. We're just going to go ahead and put the new rear end in the car. Well, I guess before we do the rear end, let's go ahead and get this drive shaft set up. Otherwise, Lord knows I'll lose every piece to it. Just remove these E-clips, and they're called an E-clip on account of they look like a C. Just set it on your workbench, get a socket that fits in there, and we need a better workbench. When you go to put your new U-joint in your yoke, take both the caps off, set it in there, gentle now, set your caps in there. These take an inside snap ring, and it's called an inside snap ring because it's a ring that goes on the inside, and that is now installed. These you got to drive in a little bit further though, so your socket comes back into play. That's one down. I'm going to go ahead and pop the other side in, but that gives you the gist of how U-joint is installed. Well, it's starting to rain like crazy out here, which means I'm probably going to get flooded soon. But one last thing to show you on the drive shaft. Once you get your new U-joint in, put some tape around it so the caps don't fall off and you don't have to play 52 needle bearing pickup. Well, my buddy over at Chevelle Ranch, kind enough to include a couple new upper control arm bushings with the rear end. And probably wise enough, because I'm sure he figures that I would probably try to reuse the old ones somehow. So these are stepped. You can see this little ridge here. That's all you got to get to. That first one I did fought me like the devil. Put it in there, and I'm guessing it's because it's got a zillion coats of paint in it, courtesy of me. Before I do this one, I'm going to knock down some of that paint. So basically what you need, pretty good sized hammer. You got to get them in there straight. I start them with the hammer. I hit it with the broad side of it. Just get you a block of wood, spread out the force. Ow. Plus they look nice. I'm gonna go make some extra room back there since we're working on the back end now. I'm just gonna push the car up as far forward as I can. Gotta make do with the space you got. Now we're in the air, zip wheels off, shocks. I'm gonna try to take the brake backing plates off and just leave them hanging if I can. Then we don't have to open up the brake system. Goodness gracious, it's raining. Oh, oh no, it's gonna rust. Ah, comfort. I don't know who's running the weather around here, but I would like to speak to the manager. It was almost 70 degrees yesterday, and now it's like 10. And there's a foot of snow on the ground. And I hate this. I love the snow, but make up your damn mind. So like I was saying before, I'm gonna go ahead and just pop this backing plate off. We'll pull the axle, and I'm gonna try to pop the backing plate off, and then we could just wire it up and hang them, you know, out of the way with the brake lines attached. And maybe we can get away with that. That would be super cool. Not counting on it, but you know, it's worth a shot. Since you've seen me put them together, you know, at least 2 or 3 times now. Oh my god, the frame is bent. Huh. Let's ignore that. Pop this backing plate off, and I pulled the brake lines out of their clamps, including the T on top of the rear end. So what we're going to do, and it looks like it's going to work, is just get these up and out of the way, and then we can just bolt them right on the new axle and not have to fool with it. I haven't hit anything from Holley today, so this will be our deliverable. Earl safety wire. I don't know how to use this. Never had anything this nice before. And, you know, if it's not used to hold an animal's food together, I'm kind of lost. They also included these Mr. Gasket safety wire pliers. I don't know what to do with them, so they did come with instructions, and I didn't read them. But they got some dikes in there, and then that, and then I'm assuming like this, you know, like you probably like twist like that, I guess. I don't know. I'll just put some of this wire through here. And the good thing about safety wire, it's a lot stronger than baling wire, so we shouldn't have to worry about, you know, this falling down on our heads. Got this nice hole to work through up here. And then we just grab her and twist. Looks good to me. And there we go. That's what we call the zero twist safety wire knot. Alright, I let all the air, or most of the air, out of our air shocks. So now we can zip them off probably a little safer. Then we'll pop the springs out. And I've got all the rest of the bolts soaking in some penetrating lube. Hopefully that helps us out. And we're just going to let these hang too for easy reinstallation. Two springs. We're going to take out the uppers. I said we're going to take out the uppers first. When you got a rusty bolt, sometimes it's good to just go left and then right and left and right until you get it to free up. And boom, upper control arms deleted. And there's a very specific reason I did that, but you got to be careful. I did that so it would swing down on the lower arms. That way I don't have to wrestle with putting a jack under it and stuff. Just let her drop. That'll kind of restrict the drop, you know, some. But don't be underneath it. That's why I moved to the front of the car and just kind of man, one thing I noticed, look how good these freaking bushings are in this. I don't think this was a very high mileage car. I know that sounds like a joke, but man, you never see them look like that. That would kind of go along with the theory of those tags being from 76. Maybe the car was off the road in 77 or 8, and you can only put so many miles on a car in 8 years living in West Texas. Man, I don't know. She might be a low mileage survivor. All right, she should be free now. Come on now. There's one. Come on, off of there, you. There we go. Same thing with these bushings. They're in really good shape, actually. Well, well, well. There she is. Nary a bullet wound on her. But we know that she's trash. You know, if any of you guys want that, send me an email. DaleTheStockCarDriver@gmail.com. I'll give it to you for free. I mean, if you come and get it, I'm not shipping it, but if you come get it, it's yours. You can own a piece of automotive history. I don't know if this might be something that bites us, but I didn't pull that sway bar. I might go ahead and yank it out of there and, you know, spray it some kind of cool color, and that'll let us, you know, move these around a little bit too. It helps when you're putting them back in. It's pretty cool that it has that. That's not on all of them. Yeah, a few things we can clean up in here. Maybe we can squirt some black paint on here or something to, you know, really make that new rear end pop. Alright, well, I've got 4 used cans of spray paint here, and I'm just gonna hose everything down in there. Dirt, rust, all of it. Well, that's a little bit better up in there. I just wanted to hit the spots where it might be hard to get to when the rear end is in the car. So just up in that well there, just kind of hose it down, and that'll make a bit of a difference later on. Well, we got to throw this baby on the rear workbench now. So I'm just going to sand it up and we'll find something to paint it with. Well, I scuffed her up a bit. The only color I could really think of is chrome. That was a flat black can with a chrome lid. This is chrome. Oh yeah. Everyone's going to think we got $1 million sway bar on there. You know what's funny? Is that sway bar is probably worth what I paid for the whole car. Oh yeah. Somebody play lowrider, man. That's nice. Full custom right there. You don't get that on just any automotive channel, I can tell you that. Well, I'm going to take a quick break from the rear end to show you that George was kind enough to send me a pair of fuzzy dice. Because he figured that any 70s hot rod needs a pair of fuzzy dice. And I figure he's probably right. Mark sent me this octopus here of seat belts. And these are the fancy seat belts with the fancy buckles on them. So I might use these. I don't know. They're pretty bad. And he said they were terrible, which means they're perfect. These are the nice ones, though. They don't have the big wide buckle. These are a little more comfortable, actually. Anyway, we got a full set of seat belts. It's pretty cool. Thanks, guys. Well, I made me a stop at Hazardous Freight and picked me up some of this professional rubberized undercoating. It's bed liner. This stuff dries. You can tell it dries because it says it's paintable. I got 3 cans here. That's probably enough to just slather the underside of this thing in something. It'll look nicer and, you know, maybe keep some of the road noise out. Yeah, that's a big concern of mine. This stuff works well enough, but boy, it's a mess. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the definitely wrong thing and reuse all of this original War Survivor hardware. Oh, fat son of a... Alright. Close-ish. Now, the idea of doing it this way is that hopefully, if you get her lined up right, just slide the lower control arm right into its mount, and then roll this up. There we go. That's one, kinda. Just try to get that bolt lined up as best you can, and then hopefully you can just drive it in. Let me give her a little jiggle. Jiggle, jiggle. There we go. And that's got one bolt in it now. Easy piece of cake, no problem. You don't need a lift or a backhoe or a tractor or a front loader or a bobcat or a dump truck or a little red wagon. Any of that. You can just slap them right in, no problem. So we're gonna roll it back. This is made much easier with a helper, which I have today on a rare occasion. There it goes. There she goes. All right. Now we're gonna leave those loose in there because remember, never tighten anything down. Hey, don't get shocked by that broken electrical outlet. So now that we've got the lower control arms located, we just have to jack the rear end up until we hit our upper control arms, which will of course be a piece of cake. Hey, we just push the jack actually. I can get it up. Oh, a little further. There we go. There we go. Teamwork makes the dream work. Please don't fall off. Please don't fall off. Please don't fall off. I want to get my precious jewels out of the way. Not bad. I'm lined up pretty good. Everybody, this is my picture taker. Luff Photography, by the way. You should check him out on Instagram. Luff_photography. I would say lower it down. Well, I guess I can do it. You do it. A little bit. Oh my God, whoa. That's probably perfect. I'm gonna have to actually like get under there and look.
That's terrifying.
Not a fan. Sweet release of death. Quick tip. Sometimes if you can't find the bolt hole for something and everything is kind of loaded with pressure, just get you your least favorite Phillips screwdriver and use it to kind of locate the hole. Maybe get lucky like I did not. Well, it fought like the dickens, but she's in there. That's all that matters at the end of the day is that it got done. I just ended up pounding it in with a hammer and jacking up the threads really bad, praying that I never have to change that bolt. Alright, zip zap. It smells torque to me. In order to potentially make my life a little easier, I'm going to go ahead and try to pop the springs in while the axle's way down here. I'm going to toss the new chromoleum plated sway bar in here. And one thing to show you on these A-body sway bars is they actually use shims to set them, and all three of these came out of the passenger side. And you know, that's because GM engineers think a little bit like I do. You know, don't make it right, just, you know, shove some extra metal stock in there and fix it. Obviously, just put them right back where they come from. Should just be able to slide this up in here. And before we go hogging any shims in here, I'm going to go ahead and get the other side bolted up too. Always leaving everything loose, of course. Stock. There. Unstuck. Not on. Thank you. It's stuck. Why stuck? Stuck. I got it. Okay. Well, that was easy. Cameraman is taking the liberties of protecting me from future lawsuits. So all we're going to do is take our Mr. Gasket multi-safety wire pliers and just snip it. Well, I do got a good pair of dikes built into them. Just like that.
That's an all original backing plate, you know, numbers matching.
The bearings on these axles are like new. They got new seals in them, in there, everything. It's a really, really nice rear end. So now that we got our backing plate back on, just take this, fish around till you find the splines, clock your retaining plate, you know, wherever it went. Not like that. And then just zip, 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 zip. Obviously space gets pretty tight in here when you have the whole brake assembly on here. So what you're going to need to do is get a 3/8 socket, 9/16, and then just put the nut in the end of it. Use it like a nut driver through your hole here to get them started. When you go to tighten these things down, in lieu of an impact like you've seen me use before, you could also use normal people tools. And you know, there's a torque setting on these, and it's whatever feels right. Torqued. And this side is muy finito. Boom. Well, there we go. This is all done. The rear end is in the car, installed, and ready to rock and roll. Well, thank you guys for watching, as always. You can find us on Facebook. Just search Pole Barn Garage. There's a page and a group on there. Very active in the group. If you want to talk or post or whatever, go for it. Find me on Instagram at Pole Barn Garage. And a reminder, subscribe, like, and share. Share this thing around. Share it to your pages and your spaces and your books and your Tic Tacs and your what who's, whatever. Share it all around, just like that. And that will make a big difference. Thanks again to our partners, Roadkill Customs and Holley. And you can find Roadkill Customs at roadkillcustoms.com. There's a link in the description. Holley, we all know who that is. There's a link in the description. And big thanks to them. No way in hell could we make it to Autorama without their help. One more thing. I have t-shirts for sale. Holy Goat. These were made by a really nice young lady named Miriam, and she has them on Redbubble. She drew this, designed it. They decided to give me a small commission off of it, but most of it goes to her, and it's well deserved, I think. Buy you a t-shirt. You know, let's rep the Holy Goat, huh? Anyway, thank you guys, as always, for watching Pole Barn Garage. And, you know, next time, it's gonna drive.